Let's look at some of the editing features in DynaSCAPE Color. DynaSCAPE Color's editing features include tools to adjust layering order of objects on the drawing, tools to add transparencies to objects and make them more see-through, and tools to add shadows to objects to give them more of a three-dimensional look and feel. Let's look at the layering order in DynaSCAPE Color. I'm going to apply color to my lawn area and to my plant bed areas to demonstrate how it works. First, I'm going to choose a mulch swatch and apply that to this plant bed here and this one here. I'm going to take a grass swatch and apply it to my lawn area there. Now you notice that the swatch for these two areas are on top of everything else. That's because they're on the top layering order. And I can change that with the use of these four layering order tools here. The most beneficial ones are the ones that move it to the background or to the foreground. So I'm going to move my mulch areas and my lawn areas to the background to get them behind all the other objects that belong on top. Now you'll see that there's also a few objects here that are still in the wrong order. This tree here and this tree here both should be on the foreground. So I can use the first tool here to move it to the foreground and put them on the proper layering order so that my trees are on top, my shrubs and perennials and rocks and stuff are in the middle, and my background areas like mulch and grass are at the very bottom. You can also edit the transparency of objects on your drawing. For example, this tree could be made more transparent so that you can actually see what's underneath it. By clicking on this editing tool, clicking on that tree swatch, I can adjust down here the opacity of that tree swatch so I can see what's underneath it. I can do the same thing for this one here, reduce the opacity to make it more transparent so that I can see the objects in my design that are underneath it. I can also edit the other properties of my swatches. For example, a swatch like this paving stone area or this flagstone area could be edited in that I can change the scale of my swatch by enlarging it or shrinking it depending on what I want to do. I can also change the rotation. I can turn it to say 45 degrees. I can type in 45 or use the sliders here to make that adjustment. I can also change the opacity to make it softer or darker, whatever I choose. To make my color drawing really stand out, I can add shadows. By clicking on my shadow tool, I see a number of different settings that I can adjust for my shadows. I can change the direction of the shadow and the depth. I can also change the opacity of it, add some noise, give it some texture, and some softness to make it either soft or harsh. I'm going to leave my settings like this, adjust the depth a little bit so that I can first start to adding shadows to my trees where the shadow is going to be a little bit deeper. All I need to do is apply it by clicking on the trees. It'll add the shadow at whatever depth I've set it to. I can then adjust the depth and apply it to some of my larger shrubs first. Then I'll turn it down even more and apply it to other objects like my lower shrubs and perennials, to my pond, things like furniture, rocks, whatever else I can think of that would benefit from having a shadow applied to it, including things like steps. By adding shadows to steps, I can give my clients a better visual clue of where the grade changes are. So as you can see, applying shadows to your color rendering really makes it stand out more so than it did without shadows applied to it.